was never really good playing role of the puppet. Too busy being me to be concerned with perception of the public. Everyone is buzzing, but everybody ain't thinking about a budget. I want ownership in something. Niggas get they win.
Because of where I have to start and where I have to finish, there's only going to be one subject discussed today. And it's where we're getting started. It's involving some news that broke yesterday involving Shannon Sharpe, my colleague at ESPN, and my friend. The Hall of Fame tight end was sued on Sunday by a woman proceeding under the name Jane Doe pseudonym. The 13-page civil complaint filed in Nevada alleges that Sharpe committed assault, sexual assault, battery, and sexual battery. The plaintiff alleges Sharpe sexually assaulted her several times at the end of 2024 and the beginning of 2025. The suit also alleges that Shannon engaged in the intentional infliction of emotional distress. It should be noted that the suit was filed by attorney Tony Buzbee. This is the same attorney that filed a suit against Jay-Z and P. Diddy.
The same attorney. Now, I just wanted to wait for more facts to come out on this topic before I spoke on it, but Tony Buzbee's name alone just says no. It's all credibility is shot. Now, not to say that, hey, she couldn't have been a true victim, but judging by the information that Shannon Sharpe's team released with the text messages and things like that, it just seems like a relationship that went south to me. And hey, Shannon's getting this big payday, this $100 million deal supposedly. So you come out 2 days later or a couple of days later with a suit of $50 million, and that's the thing that has me looking at this with a side eye, right? Now, I side with the true victims of the word, right? So these things were going on. Why continue to go back? Why not go to the authorities, do a rape kit, whatever you got to do to let this be known the abuse is going on. Now, granted, if it's consensual and then it turns into something else, if you're going to do one, do both. Report both, man. Report both. Report both. My problem is with these lawsuits and these claims on these men and things like that. It's like, be true when you, it needs to be from a real place. You need to be a real victim, because the real victims are the ones that suffer. Just imagine how many women that get the courage to go to the authorities that actually have a real case, and they summoned up the courage, they mustered up the strength to go and say, hey, this is what happened to me. I was violated, abused, taken advantage of, preyed upon, right? And you've actually been locked in rooms, beaten, kicked, assaulted in multiple different ways, and you go and you tell your story to the local authorities or whoever will listen, right? And because so many other women before you have played the blame game, pointed a finger, played Me Too, or done whatever they've done and how they've done it, people now look at everybody with a side eye. The same way when a kid says, hey, I ain't have my father, or I ain't had neither one of my parents, and everybody look at them like, oh, that's normal, and nobody cares because everybody has that same story. And it's not the same thing, and it's not in the same vein, but it could be unfair that an actual victim could be impacted by someone else's bull. So I want that to be the main thing. Protect the real victims. Protect the victims who were victims, who who wasn't stalked and whatever like that, who didn't have consensual relationships and things like that. You know, even with the Jay-Z and Diddy thing, it sounded crazy. And sometimes when both parties got receipts, we got to see what that is, man. So I'm not saying that she's lying. I'm not saying that he's lying. I'm not saying that they're lying. Hey, I might be saying they're lying. But we know Tony Buzbee cheated. So you should have just picked a different attorney, sweetheart. But let's see what Stephen A. Smith has to say.
Allegedly, they both sexually assaulted a minor, which has since been withdrawn. Jay-Z also has countersued Buzbee. By the way, the plaintiff in the Sharpe civil suit is not the woman heard in the accidental Instagram live stream incident that made headlines last September of last year. In response to the suit, Shannon and his legal team went to social media yesterday and released a series of allegedly sexually explicit text messages between him and the Jane Doe. In addition to that, they issued the following statement, quote, "This lawsuit, filed by Gabriella Zuniga and orchestrated by her attorney, Tony Buzbee, is a blatant and cynical attempt to shake down Mr. Sharpe for millions of dollars. It is filled with lies, distortions, and misrepresentations, and it will not succeed," end quote. Then earlier today, Jane Doe's attorney, Tony Buzbee, sent TMZ Sports a 1 minute and 36-second clip of an alleged conversation between his client and Shannon. In response to that clip, Shannon Sharpe went back to social media and issued this response. Take a look.
As reportedly colleague, I want to speak to you directly and from the heart. This is a shakedown. I'm going to be open, transparent, and defend myself because this isn't right. This is all being orchestrated by Tony Buzbee, who has targeted Jay-Z. Tony Buzbee targets black men, and I believe he's going to release a 30-second clip of a sex tape that tries to make me look guilty and played into every stereotype you could possibly imagine. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey Tony, instead of releasing your head, put the whole video out. I don't have it, or I would myself. You know what happened, and you're trying to manipulate the media. The account in question took place during the day at her invitation, and now that appears to be a delivered sale, coordinated by Gaddy, also known as Carly on OnlyFans. Gaddy and Tony Buzbee want $50 million. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
Well,
It's a sad situation. Shannon Sharpe is somebody I work with a couple of days a week. Shannon Sharpe is somebody that I brought to ESPN. Works on First Take, which is on ESPN every weekday morning from 10 a.m. 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. He's been with me every 13 years of counting. But since Shannon has arrived, obviously he's helped the show immensely. And I can't thank him enough for it. We've grown close as friends. I'd like to believe that. I certainly root for him. I know he's been through a lot in life. He's overcome a lot of things. And when he departed from Fox, I was more than happy to bring him on board here.
Stephen A. Smith sounds sad in a way. You know, like he can't believe this is happening. And even with the Jay-Z situation, people sounded disappointed and sad when these allegations came out, right? But in turn, we'll get all the information we may need, you know, as fans onlookers, spectators, and just people of the cultures, right? I want people to understand something when they're talking about these situations. It's a very touch and go when you're having these conversations, because you don't want to stray too far left or right. And what I mean by that is, okay, for instance, if there's truth to this victim's statement, right, you don't want to take a dump all over her life because, you know, we see Shannon on TV and on YouTube and everything like that. We watch this whole career, and we've seen Shannon in this limelight for 30 some odd years, right? We don't want to just take that side, right? Now, let's just say, you know, for instance, Shannon's completely who people think he is, stand-up individual, who he portrays to be. You know, he wouldn't hurt this woman this way, and it was just a bad situation, a bad relationship going wrong, right? Now, when we get into that, right, I also want that to be as loud as these allegations are, if he's found innocent, because that's the thing. Right now, we don't know if these acts have taken place. It's quite disgusting, right? But as men and women, we have to be honest with ourselves, right? And be careful about the situations we put ourselves in. Now, judging by the age gap, this shouldn't even have been a thing, right? Older guy wanting to have fun, you know, I get it, right? But it's a thing called staying in your lane, right? I don't want a woman that's, I'll do 6 years younger than me. That's it. I'm not going below that, because the conversations won't match. The lifestyle, the mental game, it won't match. It won't make sense to an adult man. But if you're just having fun, hey, just had a little fun, you know, hey, that's cool. I wouldn't do it for some of these reasons, because, hey, judging by the text messages, the messages that was displayed, pardon me, quite graphic, quite, you know, vulgar, the things that, you know, she's referencing and saying, and it's like, hey man, it's, you know, the older guy might be scared of that. Hey, wait a minute, lady, I mean, ain't in all that, right? You could have walked away, right? If it got too much on the other side, say, hey, woman, you're a little too rough over here. Could have walked away, so I didn't need to party walk away. Right, this is now an explosion, right? And then you get a messy lawyer involved, like Tony Buzbee, and that's not being disrespectful. That's not acting off of false information or pretense. That's, he's shown his character. You had a hotline for Diddy. You went in, you took this bizarre case, right, with this bizarre claim, and you ran with it. You ran around in the media parading and tearing down a very successful gentleman, right? And
you can see when danger near. See what this name, but they say love conquers all. It do though. That's true though. Change the side of that coin. Got to. It's all love. Yeah. We are one.
So all I can speak about is what I know based on the reports, and I can speak about ESPN and Disney. To be clear, even though this podcast, this YouTube show is owned and operated by me solely, it doesn't mean that I'm going to be dismissive of ESPN, who employs me in my daytime job on First Take. So I sit here before you today letting you know that they are aware that this is a subject that I was going to broach, because I owe them that courtesy. With that being said, it's important to point out a couple of things. Number one, I was not there. I can provide no eyewitness account. And even though I got love and respect for Shannon Sharpe, and I'm sincerely hopeful and prayerful that he is completely innocent of the allegations that have been levied against him, I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt from a knowledgeable place, because I have nothing to do with this. I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything. I don't even know this person. I know what the reports say. I know the reports, the things that have been reported on a multitude of outlets, from the AP to the New York Post to Forbes to TMZ and everything in between. I mean, I can't even count the number of publications that have talked about it or written about it, networks, etc. It's all over the internet. It's everywhere. And I know that. I'm fully aware of that. This is not a criminal case. So there is no concern about him going to jail. This is a civil case, which means that he can either be found liable or not liable. The accuser in question is seeking $50 million. That was confirmed by Shannon Sharpe on that video today. According to the reports, it's somebody that he met in 2023, who was 19 years old at that particular moment in time. According to some audio that was put out earlier today by attorney Buzbee, you hear the accuser, the female, talking to somebody who is alleged to be Shannon Sharpe. We don't know whether that's true or not. And the person in question, again, we don't know whether it's Shannon or not, the words choke, as in I will choke the hell out of you if I saw you. And so because of that, knowing that audio is probably going to come out along with additional tapes, whether they be video or audio is unclear at this particular moment in time, Shannon Sharpe felt compelled to come out in his own defense. How we interpret that? Let me be very, very clear about where I'm coming from. I'm a bit torn in terms of his response. On one hand, Tony Buzbee has sued Jay-Z. He did sue Diddy. He did accuse them, or represented the woman who was accusing them of assault, of sexual assault, and said that she was 13 years of age at the time when talking about Jay-Z and Diddy, and Jay-Z went ballistic and emphatically denied it, wouldn't let it go. The case was dropped, and now he's suing Buzbee, mentioning words like extortion and other things. So when Shannon Sharpe brought up Mr. Buzbee in that video that we aired and talked about him being extorted, he brought up Mr. Buzbee and Mr. Buzbee's past. And you talk about him for, going against African-American men. There's two thoughts there. On one hand, there's the Jay-Z, who obviously should be presumed innocent, not just because you should be presumed innocent until found guilty, but because of the manner in which he fought on his own behalf and has been very aggressive in going after Tony Buzbee. In the case of P. Diddy, you don't know what to believe. Again, the case against Jay-Z was a civil suit. Diddy was a civil suit. But in Diddy, you don't know what to believe because of all the allegations he's facing. But we can't forget that Tony Buzbee was also the person that represented at least 24 of the 27 women that accused Deshaun Watson. of sexual misconduct along with other allegations. And at least 23 of those cases were settled. So we have an obligation to mention that. So on one hand, going on the offensive to defend himself, I completely understand where Shannon Sharpe is coming from. On the other hand, when his legal team issued out press release on X